is this thing? See? That's Fat Uncle Matt right there. Now I'm right here if you can't see me really well.
Hey.
This thing on? Uncle Matt, can you face this the other way for me?
All right there, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Burns Fat here. This is 5 days left before my Appalachian Trail through hike. I'm gonna walk you through my clothes, my gear, and a little bit of my planning, because this is the last video I'm gonna make before I hit the trail. A lot of my gear was donated. A lot of the money that I used to buy the gear was donated. I had to make a lot of sacrifices in terms of cost to weight ratio, and I'm okay with that. My pack comes in a little bit heavier than I wanted it to be, but I'm still gonna rock it, and I made sacrifices elsewhere to make up for that. Here is my gear for my 2019 Appalachian Trail through hike. This is quite a comfy setup. I'm nice and comfortable right here. I might even take a nap. But one of my favorite things about this tent setup, and I'll talk about the tent in a minute, but this is one of the tents that's set up using your trekking pole. So that saves weight on your tent poles. That's what they're called. Poles for your tent are called tent poles. So that saves you room on that. And then I have this sweet ground cover here that's going to keep my knees dry when I get in and out of it, which I realize is very important to me. And then what I don't have set up is the rain fly over there. I didn't put that up because I don't have anywhere to really put it up right now, but that's going to come with me to kind of keep my whole camp from getting wet when it rains. And my pack, this is a very small tent, but my pack will sleep in here with me under my legs to help me recuperate my legs a little bit more after a long day of running and hiking. So I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but one of my neighbors is using a table saw, and it definitely gives me a weird feeling still to hear that. It's interesting. All right, so I'm gonna go quickly over my sleep and shelter system with you guys while I have it set up here. Let's start all the way at the bottom here. I have the Climate Insulated Static V mat down here, air mattress, John. I have the Climate Ultralight X pillow. I have the REI Co-op TrailPod 30 long. And I know that the 30 is possibly a little bit cold, especially considering that this isn't necessarily a 3-season tent. But I also have a sleeping bag liner in here, and I'll be sleeping for the first few weeks in as many clothes as possible. Bottle of warm water in a sleeping bag, other tricks to kind of keep myself from dying. Doing as much as I can with whatever I have, guys. Okay, so there is one unique thing about my hike that I don't see a lot of hikers that have to worry about this. I have to protect my fingers a little bit more because in October, if you don't know this, I cut my fingers off with a table saw. Now they've been surgically reattached. Now that almost actually canceled my hike, but I've been given the go-ahead from my doctors to continue with the hike. I have a cast here to protect it for when I have to do some, you know, rock climbing and things like that. I have some gel pads here to smooth out the scar, and then I have this to help me straighten out the one finger that can still bend. But also gloves are very important because of all the nerve damage. My left hand is very, very intolerant to cold. As a matter of fact, it's like 35 degrees here right now, and I'm gonna have to step inside and warm up for a little bit because my hand is starting to get painful. So that means that I at least have to carry a left-handed mitten, and these ironclad work gloves. I think that these gloves are going to make the difference whether I finish this hike with a healthy hand or not. So the unfortunate thing about them is that I need them, even though they are a little bit heavy. Hey guys, so this is my Z-Packs Hexamid Solo. This was donated directly from a follower, so I'm pretty sure it was the 2015 or 2016. The difference is that in the later years they actually introduced a small vestibule, but this thing is great because it has the bathtub type floor on the bottom with the mesh netting. It makes it faster drying. Also, I can use that floor as a rain skirt if it starts to rain a little bit too heavy for my liking. It actually gives me the availability to pull that out and do a little bit of cowboy camping if I prefer to. All right, so I'm not gonna go crazy talking about why I chose this brand over that brand in clothes. I didn't do any of that, honestly. It was mostly piece together what I had around, bought anything else that I needed, and I'm gonna make do with whatever I have. So I have enough base layer to cover 2 outfits, as you can see. These gloves I'm also wearing as my base layer gloves. Really important for me, because I am trail running some of this hike, is liner socks. So I have these socks and compression sleeves for my calves. I have my American flag socks. I have one pair of pants and a pair of shorts, because you know it's going to be cold when I'm out there. I have my puffy jacket, I have my shell jacket, and then I have this jacket here that's going to keep me very warm in the first couple weeks where it's still potentially snowing and dropping below 30 degrees. All right, guys, so all I have left now is this stuff here. I got the Osprey Kestrel 38, and I know a lot of people are gonna say that 38 liters is not a lot to through hike the AT. I subscribe to the notion that if you have the room, you're going to fill it. So I didn't want to fill that room. I'm going to be trail running, so it was very important for me to keep it as compact as possible and as light as possible. Everything that I have is getting packed very tightly inside this bag so it doesn't move around, so it stays tight on my back so I can run. I also have this neat little red camp stove. That's an alcohol burning stove, and that is going to get me through at least the first half of my hike. I am not completely decided on whether or not I'm going to continue with the stove after the halfway point, where it is warmer, and I might just cold soak everything. I have this pot here. My buddy, he donated this, but it was a little bit too thin to fit. Well, he donated a different pot, but it was a little too thin to fit onto my stove, so I traded that out with another hiker and got the fatter one, and he was looking for a thinner one. Black Rifle Coffee Company sent me this wonderful coffee mug, this camp mug that just, I mean, it keeps coffee hot forever. I mean, I don't think I've drank cold coffee out of this thing at all, and I mean, I forget about my coffee sometimes. They also sent me the really cool collapsible filter that's going to get me through so much of that hike. Big shout out to Mammoth Creameries. It's actually an old mini Cohiba container tin, and that's going to be my wallet. That's where I'm going to keep all of my money and whatever else I have. I have this umbrella here that was donated from a follower, and then I just wrapped it tightly in a stuff sack. This first aid kit full of allergy medicine, Imodium, backup camp fuel just in case, gauze pads, duct tape, Leuco tape, some sewing needles, some fishing line, you know, everything that I might need in case of an emergency I have in that kit. I also have this microfiber towel that is lightweight and easy to dry. My electronics bag is all chargers and, you know, all that kind of stuff that you're not really that interested in. All right, so that is all of my gear that I am taking with me on the AT. This is my last day of packing it up and making sure that everything works, and let's pack it up, guys.
My strength, the threats will be screamed when the vultures feel threatened. So I'll open up the door and let you in. I wanna break the alabaster, smell the sweet perfume. When the bottle's broken, I'll have nothing left to give. I'll know I'll already have everything worth having. But I feel my strength returning tonight. It's pouring from the purest well to ever give water.